Hi guys, another snack, another little mobility snack. Okay, so what you see is one block here. I'm gonna put the right foot on the block and we're gonna lunge deeply knee over toe. That's really all that we're doing is this knee over toe. Now you can weight bear. I'm gonna try to weight bear a little bit more. Knee over toe is incredibly important to meeting the end range of what the knee can do and to try to find strength in that end range as well. End range is not really me trying to cultivate more flexibility. End range is really where I am noticing a little resistance and a little feedback from my body. And I want to be able to come and go out of that end range freely so that if I ever needed to utilize this type of stance to stand up, I could. It's an idea. Okay. And then we're going to pivot this left lower leg in and we're going to rise. Now, what I need to do is bring the right block more forward because that's really kind of more natural to my leg. Notice that my knee is higher than my hip here. Part of that is just my anatomy, and part of it is the size of my block. But aside from my knee being higher than normal, this is a pretty natural openness for me in my hips. So I'm good to go into it. Now, when I lean really forward into it, my right heel is coming off, but it's not painful. So I just want to remind you guys that your heel can come off, and that might actually be how you, and I'm leaning into it and weight bearing into it, increase a little bit more Achilles or calf stretch. And especially if you have some openness in these areas, it doesn't mean that they don't need to be stretched. It doesn't mean that they don't need to find their end range. We're just kind of consistently testing and seeing how we can get these joints to be happy and lubricated and continue to be utilized efficiently. Okay, from here, we're just gonna go ahead and open this leg out. All right, so if you notice, my left knee is not directly underneath my left hip, which is completely fine. I'm gonna put my hands on the ground. I do have my left toes tucked under currently, and I'm just gonna go back and forth. Like I'm trying to sit hamstring to calf, back and forth, back and forth. And then I can come up. And the only reason we're doing that is to just remind us all that that's the same action that we're doing back and forth, but now we're going to do hands free. So I'm just going to take my hands behind me and I'm going to let my butt sink back and my body hinge forward. So now I'm going back and down and forward and up at the same time. Back and down and forward and up. There is a lot of stuff going on here. Back and down, stretching the outer right ankle and up, and the inner right side, and flexion and extension in the left hip flexor and in the left knee. Okay, arms to T, and then we're just going to lean to the left and open the right side of the body and come up and lean to the right and open the left side of the body. So passing through our two Puryangasanas here. And that is going to be it for this side. And then we'll just move into the second side. So I'm going to take this one block. I'm going to place it underneath this left foot and then lunge into it knee over toe. And I don't know about you guys, but I have completely different sides. And not one side is stronger or more flexible. I like zigzag. So like one shoulder, one hip, one knee, one ankle. I smile, but it's not super enjoyable. But we all have areas that need more of our attention, less of our attention. Or maybe they all need our attention, but we're not giving it in a balanced way. And here, just kind of pushing the limits maybe of the stretch or maybe of the strength. I want to be able to go in and out because I like this place to be a place of strength, not just a place of stretch. If I can stretch into this place, I'm going to be able to get out of it as well. Okay, so the next time we move forward, we're going to pivot the right lower leg in. And why I stay forward in the left leg when I pivot the right lower leg in is there's not a lot of weight in that right knee, so that when I change the orientation of the knee, it's not uncomfortable, just on the skin or on the kneecap. And so if you see, I've brought this left block forward because that's kind of the natural angle for my hip. So however far forward you need to bring that block to get it underneath you when you're turned to the side, go for it. Okay, and then something really similar, in and away, or in and be heavy. You can let that left heel come off. This one, it's not coming off, but maybe it does. You know, and if you hang out in my mobility classes on a regular basis, these are some really similar shapes that we go in and out of, and maybe in a flow way. And if you take even my vinyasa classes, we're seeing these shapes on a pretty regular basis. But now we're just dedicating a lot of movement in just a handful of areas, so a little targeting here. And from here, I'm going to rotate the left leg. Okay, I'm going to put the hands down. I have my right toes tucked under, and I'm just going to pull back and forward. And this is what I would call asking for permission. So before I take my hands away, I want to make sure that my leg is okay with this action. And if the answer is no, then I would stay here instead of rising up and going hands free. If you're here with me, hands behind your back. So just remember that the butt is going back into the same spot, but now I'm hinging, and then I'm pushing and rising. So an opening and closing action, back and down, forward and up, and that happens at the same time, back and down, and forward and up. I don't know if we did 4 on the last one, but I feel like doing 4 on this one. And then we're just going to go arms to T and a side to side action through your Puryangasanas. And you guys are always more than welcome to move at a different pace than me. Okay, and that's all for that. You can do more, you can do less. Sometimes I think I'm just going to do a little bit, and then my body gets warm and I feel comfortable and I get excited and I want to do more. So do more or do less, you decide. You think you're great, make good decisions.